Disclaimer, this video was made to protect my IP. I know I've solved some facets of FPS gaming and plan to promote this through what I have so aptly named the Gaming Bible. Similarities to this IP will result in action taken by my legal team. I thank you for your time. Disclaimer 2, this is a rough draft. Introduction. If any of you have watched gaming in prior years, you will notice a stark difference in flicking. Cue that footage.
Wins the round.
Apollo, ride that wave to the cosmos higher. Till you see battle spires. Call me.
This can be attributed to many factors. Everyone plays at a higher sensitivity now, but that shouldn't be the end-all be-all of why shots like this cannot be hit with some relative frequency. Hello all, my name is Clappy and you've made it to episode 4 of the Gaming Bible, Aim Training and Aim Trainers. What is truly possible with everyone now playing on higher sensitivities. So I plan to keep this as stark as possible. As someone who has vacillated between all aim trainers that are out on the market, you should feel something is missing. When basketball players want to get better, they put up thousands of reps of the same shot. Well, you might say, Clappy, this is gaming? All we need to do is click heads? Well, I hear you, big mouth Timmy, but as someone who had to make a Bible as a way to demonstrate that what I was watching on Twitch in the early 2020s wasn't peak, hell, it wasn't even real, this will give you the all-out best chance at dominating the opposition because I'm taking facets from basketball training to create the perfect aim trainer. Cue that footage. Welcome to the crux of this video, perhaps Bible. My IP, I plan to name Easy Peasy, stylized as such, as a precursor to what some Crossfire and Counter-Strike players have observed as routine flick shotting from the early 2010s. If you have played on 400 DPI, what I have observed is you gain the greatest chance to hit shots if someone is foveated and you are prepared for the shot. I think that this bears repeating. Shots like this fire in the hole! Were routine. If they were routine in 2010 when anyone was on 400 DPI and a SteelSeries QCK Plus or heavy, it should be much worse right now as we speak, disregarding the one thing that can confound us right now, which are hitbox sizes, but I'll elucidate on that a little bit further in the Bible. But back on topic. It should be much worse as we speak right now. I cannot speak for all games such as COD, as I know there are things like animations that simply break shots like what I'm describing to you. In a Crossfire, Counter-Strike world, what we should be experiencing now that mouse technology is peaking and I have a Superstrike, we also have some of the best cloth and glass pads that allow for as accurate mouse clicks as ever. The gap between people that should know how to click ahead, spray a body, flick to his noggin, should be much worse. Yes, I have seen the simple videos, who hasn't? But I'm not satiated with the fact that shots like this are not commonplace because DPI has doubled and sensitivities are now going up to give you the best chance to track instead of flick like they were in yesterdecade, if you will. It also allows you to play Fortnite, but that is here and there because this goes back to the Quake/CS argument from the Unreal Tournament 2004 era. You play like 80 centimeters per 360 for CS and like 10 centimeters per 360 for Quake. But if you take the Counter-Strike argument for the lowest possible sensitivity to map your muscle memory onto the entire 3D space you're looking at, instead of a foveated shot, you can play both at a high level. Take my setup for instance. I have a Skypad 3.0 and a G Pro Superlight Superstrike on 800 DPI and 1.5 sensitivity click source, which is approximately 35 centimeters per 360, and I flick better than what I watch on Twitch regularly. I am also a Fortnite noob, but when the time comes to tackle that, I will be able to with a full head of steam. Also, with the advent of an aim trainer, easy peasy, shots like such will skyrocket, and lo and behold, we have the entire point of the video, the true extent of flicking. But it's possible with everyone now playing on higher sensitivities. As you can clearly see, when someone wants to hit a three-pointer, they stand in the same exact spot and get the motion down to a T and will the ball in through muscle memory. Why would flicking or tracking be any different? Do an in-game movement that you would do when you strafe or peek someone and do it thousands of times in engine, if it were possible, and will it down until you are satisfied, i.e. not missing. If it were possible in-game with map-specific angles, which disqualifies something like Baxter from being peak aim training at Overwatch 2. As you can tell, I actually play games, but back on topic. If something like this were possible, we'd be experiencing the death of Mercy's float and Widowmaker's grappling hook being an ultimate getaway because you aim at them so sparingly. However, with this aim trainer I'm developing, you'll be able to aim at Widow's grappling for thousands of reps until you're ready to take it to quick play or ranked for those precious elo points. When I created this video, it turns out that one wall, 6 targets small is too easy, as I've hit around 55 to 60% of some shots in a single session. Please use one wall, 6 targets extra small for true flick shot training, as this now ties in from the earlier anecdote of this now ties into the earlier anecdote of headshot hitboxes, but back on topic. And now the real challenge arises. While I developed this aim trainer, easy peasy as I'd like to call it, shout out famous, is to utilize what we now have, is what we now do in game, is to utilize what we have now to mimic what we do in game while in an aim trainer. The aim trainers that exist now aren't peak, and I can prove this to you through demonstration of basketball training. Cue that footage. In a perfect world, sports and esports should have so much in common about them. The difficulty arises that now that everyone is getting better and your natural talent isn't enough to propel you into the upper echelons of competition anymore. And after this aim trainer, it never will again. Time for another anecdote. While watching clicks, there was a suggestion that stated I don't want to have a coach. And the TLDR is that if you think it's corny, you aren't trying hard enough. Christmas Clicks 2025, end quote. So now that that's out of the way, we can get into the meat and potatoes of what I'm going to demonstrate to you. Cue that footage. Now compare that to this. Anyone should see the similarities, and this is why my aim trainer is going to be different. Instead of throwing you hypothetical scenarios at you, such as Foodbot Novice, which is ultimately a tracking hand-eye coordination drill, which works, but not to the extent of this.
Watch out, sniper. Watch out, sniper.
This is why I'm banking on this aim trainer as the next big thing in esports. Easy peasy. Discussing my IP. So the time has come, as I myself cannot recall where this idea was birthed originally, and I ask you to bear with me. To edit faster in Fortnite, you play an edit course. There are drills in Fortnite, and the tracking and flicking I observe in that game, most of the time, are leagues ahead of what we are watching in Counter-Strike 2 at the time of this video going live. That is mid-2026. To get better in basketball, you go to a park and either solo or with friends, you drill yourself one topic at a time. Dribbling, shooting, defense, etc. To get better at crossfire Counter-Strike, you TDM or deathmatch to get your aim warmed up. That is in layman's terms. You get used to hitting a variety of shots, disregarding how the game is truly played at an elite level, regarding things such as choke point timing, etc. So deathmatching, by default, is a way to get you warm to game, not a way to get you better at crossfire or Counter-Strike's search and destroy modes. And there are plenty of pros whose word backs what I'm saying, like simple. Okay, so we don't have drills like Fortnite to practice specific angles or specific in-game mechanics like Widow's Hook or Sojourn Slide till it's ingrained in muscle memory. Do that footage. Aim trainers are ineffective if used like how everyone used them, playing for the leaderboard instead of in specific mechanics. So we're forced to play the game until it's second nature, which is fine, but easy peasy will be the solution you're looking for by mimicking the maps and in-engine specifics to give you something similar to AimLab's Valorant training scenarios, but tailored to each specific game to eliminate non-engine aiming as a variable, thus magnifying those who wish to work effectively and eventually leaving the people who think it's just playing the game. Also, there will be elements of randomness per peak to give you the scenario of someone playing anywhere on the site instead of fixed positions that you ultimately end up pre-firing, thus eliminating any usefulness of that scenario in AimLab for Valorant aim training. These are not effective in the latter because there are people that will never play those angles. Also, and more importantly, you know exactly where the object you're going to be shooting at is. Given a basic understanding of how human cognition or how to react to stimuli, if you know that someone is there, what are you doing training to hit that shot? This alone debunks AimLab's Valorant training scenarios as worthwhile because there are basic heuristics that should be thought of to create something that will propel those that wish to train into the upper echelons of play. So easy peasy will be an esports gym allowing you to effectively train your mechanics similar to Fortnite's islands and whatnot. Also, there will be other fixins to mimic in-game scenarios, but please leave that to when we launch the aim trainers for maximum effectiveness. However, some of the fixins I'll highlight right now that should satiate your taste buds are the similitudes to the FGC training mode. In this mode, you get to see if you are frame perfect, what button was pushed, what frame the button was actuated on, so on and so forth. In this training mode for FPS, you will see what is someone like Simple's reaction time in engine, what angle you should be flicking your mouse at as a visual heuristic, how quick you are naturally, so on and so forth. These are the basics. There will be more to highlight, as if you do not like to stream your gameplay on Twitch, you can stream it to our backend to be broadcast if you so please, creating a ladder of what you should be doing to prepare yourself to hit angles with repetition and more. The ladder, as I'd like to call it, will showcase your training to a T, as Steph Curry demonstrating what he does in the gym with his trainer. Do that footage.
This is Brandon Payne. I've been Stephen Curry's personal skills coach since 2011, and we've worked very long at creating a great partnership in terms of what he works on during the off season. Today, we'll take a look at a video from a workout we had in early September 2025. It takes the difficulty level to drill up quite a bit. Then in between each round of consecutive makes at 5 spots, he's going to end up playing a game we call 21. And the 21 game is incredibly taxing, incredibly difficult when you're doing multiple round shooting in between. On this day, we were getting a little bit closer to training camp, so we had to do some things that were a little bit longer in duration as we're trying to build him up to a peak right before training camp. So, you know, some of these drills are a little bit, they would be earlier in the off season. So again, we're at 4 consecutive 1. I think we're at 3 here. He's going to run straight to half court. When he gets to half court, now we're getting into the 21 game. So the way this game works is drive in, he's going to pull up, he's going to shoot 3. That's worth 3 points. Then he's going to drive, he's going to pull up around the elbow, free throw line. That's worth 2 points.
This will be important to break the stigma of high score, high galore. I would love to see if you were able to hit that rocket flick on Soldier or the 180 flick to someone that surprised you. Do that footage. Which will give us an idea of what you're hitting on a routine practice session, such as Curry in the gym practicing for game days. I also would love to implement some visualization training done in the fashion of wall hacks to hit someone that is behind the box, as wall shots were common in Crossfire and Counter-Strike in the late 2000s and early 2010s. And ultimately, there were some useful word of mouth about certain things regarding wall hacks and cheating during my heyday on Crossfire circa 2013. If you wish to hit some shots as best you know how, then utilizing wall hacks should propel you further come game day. I'm not saying to cheat on the ladder or even propagate it, but when it comes to training to hit shots with repetition, then utilizing this to the best of your ability should help anyone wishing to practice like Curry or FPSs. Use them in the esports gym, because if you're caught using it in game, it simply facilitates a ban, and I wish to have this knowledge propagated rather than saying cheating is 100% bad all of the time, even though we are in a pandemic right now about cheating. If you simply demonstrate what you do with them on a sanctioned program as such, there should be no problem with them. Furthermore, demonstrating what you're doing to train to hit shots like such, given that you're utilizing cheats, primarily wall hacks, getting sanctions from Steam, Epic, or the like should further propel esports once again. You should cheat as a way to further whatever you're doing naturally to terminality when it comes to things like wallbang. This facet of gaming has been demeaned, but I wish to allow it to be instantiated again with things like nothing's clips of 1.6 days and spraying a box with an XMA on Crossfire. This added plenty of tactics if you have the game sense to prepare for such through whatever means you put yourself in. If everyone can wallbang through wall hacks instead of relying on X amount of time and a custom with bots, visualizing, and hugging to get the time down, this will utilize your time more effectively, especially when it comes to spamming spoke as well. I have come to the realization that this will require some recording done locally on the machine at hand, which is why I will be recommending a DDR5 system with some possible integration with SatellPlay on the GPU's in-game hardware, or in the best or worst case scenario, depending on who you ask, a 2 PC setup, which could have some extra add-ins if you do have such. My engineering team at the time of this video, just me, will look in to see if anything is advantageous about a 2P setup, so please bear with it. I will have to be my own pseudo engineer to accomplish this, and will keep you updated on the process of this as it progresses, which segues into the next and final section of this video. How do I plan to accomplish this feat? It's a new year, and with that we have the routine goals of getting a car, saving money, losing weight, etc. as these have been accomplished many times before. However, when was the only time you've seen the basketball get willed in for more than half court from none other than Steph Curry during the mid-2010s, showcasing that yes, you can if you put in the work. And that led to the development of this gym-like aim trainer to get you ready for these half-court shots. Cue that footage.
How ungrateful.
With that, I will be employing the help of none other than my right-hand man Remix from Crossfire to help me learn Unreal Engine 5. We're no professionals, but this will teach us the game development process and get us ready to be the driving force behind Easy Peasy, our damn selves, and be the CEO and CFO respectively of a cash cow that we'll be so ready to tackle. We'll be employing the help of ChatGPT to give us the programming knowledge to make this happen in a timely fashion, so on a year-by-year basis, and push this out to the world with your hard-earned $10 as a barrier of entry, which isn't free, but I'd rather be upfront about costs, as this will be a lot more consumer friendly than charging nothing upfront than charging double later down the line when we gain traction. As pseudo engineers and executive officers of our aim trainer, we'll make sure that you can take a dump on the app by hard work instead of paying $500 for DMA cheats, or even worse, that ultimately ruin the competitive integrity of online gaming. This is Clappy and Remix. Out.